Good morning, everyone. Today, we are going to continue our revision module, chapter 8, How do organisms reproduce? In this session, we are going to discuss the male reproductive system and female reproductive system in human being. The human reproduction follows the sexual mode of reproduction. That means we have already discussed that sexual reproduction involves biparental union. Two parents are involved and they produce the sex cells in the form of gametes. And these gametes will fuse at the time of mating. And that fusion product we can call it as zygote, a single cell. The sperm and the ova will fuse together and they will form a zygote. The zygote only later develop into organism. So for this, how the reproductive structures are formed within the organism. How from these structures the gametes are produced and how this gametic fusion is possible and how the zygote development is taking place. So all these topics we will cover in this topic. So here, when a baby is born, it is immediately followed by a growth period. That means the baby will gradually develop into its body. The organ system and the increase in the length, weight, and everything will take place. So for about 10 to 12 years, it is a period of growth. You will be involved, or your body will be involved in for more and more cell formation, etc. Once it reaches into approximately 10 years or 12 years, then there is a period of maturation of your reproductive structures or reproductive organs. So what do you mean by the maturation of reproductive organs? That means you will have reproductive organs. Male means there is a penis and a testis, pair of testes. Female means they will have a collection of reproductive structures, oviduct, ovary, and vagina, all those things. So these are the reproductive structures that makes men and women separate. So here that reproductive organ should get mature so that they should be able to produce the gamete. So that process of maturation of reproductive structures, which is formed within that period of development, it is called as puberty. So the puberty means it is the maturation of sex organs. And from that time onwards, the sex organs will be able to produce the sex cells, or we can say gamete. Once the body start producing the gamete, then that is itself, that person can involve in the process of reproduction. So they will be able to produce a young one. So the period of maturity of the sex organs that makes or that converts or that changes a boy into a man, a girl into a woman. So that transition period of transforming from a boy to a man, a girl to a woman is called as puberty. So from that pubertal time onwards, the man, their reproductive structures, the testes, they will produce the sperm, the sex cell, male sex cell or male gamete. The female or the women can produce the ova within the ovary. So the period of sexual maturation is called as puberty. So how can we differentiate that how the sexual, or in which way the sexual maturation is attained? From external features itself, you can make out the difference between a boy and a man, a girl and a woman. There are lots of changes that happens at that time. The boy, when they enter into 12 years or 14 years, that time you can see so much of changes, physiological changes, morphological changes. Their body shape will change, their body functions will change. So in boys mainly we can see there will be thick hair growth in the armpits, genital area, in the chest region. Then their sound will change, a cracking sound will appear, then gradually it will smoothen. Then the skin will become, especially face and all, the pimples will appear because it will become more oily. Then their reproductive structures, the penis, testes, and all will enlarge in size. And on the face and the face and all, the extra hair growth, mustache, and then beard, etc. appears. So all these are the external changes that happens in a boy that makes, or that period is called as pubertal changes, or that changes are called as pubertal changes. And that makes, when once it happens, then the boy is changing into man. And in his testes or in his reproductive structure, the sex cells will start producing. The sex cell is called as, male sex cell is called as sperm. So from his testes, the sperms will produce, and that will be ejected out through the penis. That process, the semen. The secretion is called as semen. So he will start ejaculating the semen outside in the night time, and all. And when he is sexually excited, that time the secretions will eject out from the penis. And the same way, so that is, all these are the pubertal changes that happens. The same way in female also, in girls also, the changes can occur. So what all changes that makes a girl different from a woman? The girl, it is almost same like a childish appearance only. From there, once she enters into the pubertal changes or puberty time, the breast size will enlarge. The size of the breast increases. And then the pelvic region, the hip region will widen. There also the hair growth will take place in certain parts, that is in the pubic region, in and around the reproductive structures. In the armpit region, the hair growth will take place. Then apart from that, the her sound also will become high pitched. Then along with that, hair from every month, from her vagina, approximately 2 to 3 years, 2 to 3 days, or 3 to 5 days actually. 3 to 5 days, there will be the bleeding takes place. That is called as menstruation. So she will start menstruate every month. And all these changes. So that first appearance of menstruation in her life cycle, in her life, that is called as menarche. So once it started, then every month it will continue for about 5 days in her reproductive cycle. There will be a process of bleeding. So all these are the starting, or we can say the symptoms of the transformation of a girl into a woman. And along with that, within her body, within her ovary, the sex cells will start producing, that is called as ova. So she will start producing ova, 1 or 2 depending upon, in every month. So this ova and the sperm by the man, if they happen to fuse, then there will be the origin of life, or you can say the new generation will give rise to. So in that way, the continuity of the generation can be maintained with the help of sexual reproduction. And we'll move on to more detail about male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes, which is the main sex organ. So when the baby is in mother's womb, in the infancy condition, that time the testes will be inside the abdominal cavity of the baby. But just before the birth or soon after the birth, the testicles will descend down, and that will be positioned in the lower region of the body in a sac-like structure. That sac-like structure is called as scrotum. So a pair of testes which is enclosed in a sac-like structure, that is called as scrotum. So this testis, what is the role of testis? It is the gonad, or we can say the main sex organ. Inside the testis, there are many small tubules. That tubules will produce the sperm. Seminiferous tubules will say the seminiferous tubules, the lining of the cells, they will differentiate into, they will proliferate into the sex cells. That sex cells are gradually transformed into sperm. And along with that, in and around the seminiferous tubules surrounding within the space, there are another group of cells that is called as Leydig cells, which will produce a hormone, male hormone, which is essential for the formation of secondary sexual characteristics that I said, what makes the man a child or a boy is the man. The hair growth and the testicle size increase, the sound changing, all those characteristics, secondary sexual characteristics. That is controlled by the male sex hormone testosterone. Along with that, it also regulates the production of sperms. So if the testosterone is there, then only more and more sperms will be produced. So the function of testis is to produce the sperm as well as the production of the testosterone, which is the male sex hormone. Then why the testis is located outside? I said it was inside before when the baby is inside mother's womb. Why it is descending down and it is kept outside means the sperm production require 2 to 3 degrees centigrade less than our body temperature. That means our body temperature is 37 degrees centigrade and it is less than 2 to 3. That means it is 35 or 34 degree centigrade only is needed for the sperm to produce, for the testis to produce the sperm. So the sperm production require 2 to 3 degrees centigrade less than the body temperature. So in order to provide that less temperature, the testicles itself or testis itself is kept outside and it is covered by scrotum. And from the testis, so I said one pair of testis is there. From the testis, long tube emerges out. And that tube is called as vas deferens. So a pair of vas deferens. This vas deferens joined together, it will surround the urinary bladder. Then it will reach into, it will join together and they will form a simple duct or a single duct that is called as urethra. Meanwhile, not only the urethra, meanwhile, this is the structure. So here you can see the figure I have attached, you can see. Meanwhile, they will unite with or they will collect. There are certain the secretions from the glands. You can see here. There is a yellowish colored gland is there that is called a seminal vesicle, which will add more nutrients for the development, for the activity or for the growth, for the maintenance of the sperm life condition. Then along with that, there is another gland that is called as prostate gland. And a small gland also is there in and around that one that is called as Cowper's gland. So all these glands, sex glands we can say, accessory sex glands, they will secrete the fluid part. So the semen, the sperm which is produced within the testis, that will be collected by a long tube that will be surrounding the oviduct. Then it will collect the glands, the secretions from the glands, example seminal vesicle, prostate glands and Cowper's glands. They will add up more fluid part. Then along with the semen, along with the sperm, the fluid together we'll call it as, by the time we'll call it as semen. Then that will be passing through a long duct that is called as urethra. This urethra will pass through a rod-like structure. That rod-like structure is called as penis. So through the penis, the urethra will pass out. At the tip of the penis, it will open out. So the semen can be ejected through the penis. So penis is acting as a copulatory organ. Penis is acting as a copulatory organ. So when this penis is inserted into the vagina, the semen will be discharged. The sperm with the nutrients will be discharged into the female genital tract. So that process is called as intercourse. The male meets the female, and with the help of penis, it can insert the semen, the sperm, into the female tract of the genital tract of the female. So that is the sexual interaction which is taking place. And here on the right side, I have made the structure, or I have attached the figure of a sperm. So once the puberty achieved, the male will produce thousands of, or we can say millions of sperms. And it is a continuous process throughout the body. Within the testes, they will keep on producing the sperms. And the sperms will be temporarily stored within the testis, that is within a tube that is called as epididymis. When the person is sexually excited, the sperms will pass through the vas deferens, then mixed with the fluid secretion of the vesicles, seminal vesicles, prostate, Cowper's glands, and it will pass out through the penis. So each sperm, when we say, it is the sex cell or the gamete of the male. It consists of head, neck, middle piece, and a long tail. So the structure, we can compare it as a tadpole. Once it is discharged through the penis into the vaginal tracta, the collection of sperm and the fluid part, semen, into the female tract, with the help of this tail, they can move into the genital tract. And they can reach up to the fallopian tube of the female. So that process of inserting the penis into the female genital tract to deposit the semen within the genital tract, that process is called as intercourse. Now when we will move on to the next topic, so that is urethra. Already we said the urethra is the common passage in male. So I said the vas deferens joins with the accessory sex glands, the seminal vesicle, the prostate glands, its secretions together with the sperm, they'll pass through the urethra. And the urethra receives a duct from the urinary bladder also. So urinary bladder will void or will pour the urine through this tube. At the same time, the semen also will be passed through. So it's a common passage. So the urine as well as the semen also will be passed, but one at a time. Either urine will be discharged or the semen will be discharged. So urethra is enclosed in a muscular organ that is called as penis, which is acting as a copulatory organ. Copulatory organ means the organ which helps in discharging the semen into the vaginal tract of a female. And associated with, there are many glands already we have discussed. Just I am saying the names. That is seminal vesicles, a pair of seminal vesicles, and a single prostate gland. Seminal vesicles will give nutrients, calcium, then fructose, etc., etc. Then prostate gland will add up a milky juice, milky secretion, which gives milky color to the semen. And along with that, there is fluid secretion, the fluid part also Cowper's glands. So all these secretions will mix with the sperm and then it is called as semen. And it will provide nutrients for the sperm along with the secretion. So the function of sperm is fluidity, and also sperms will get the nutrients, etc. Then more or less the same way, the female sex organ, the female reproductive system. It is present within the female body. The female reproductive system, when we say the main sex organ of female, is a pair of ovary. It is located within the abdomen, on the sides of the abdomen, within the body cavity. And it is performing the role, it is acting as or it will produce the ova every month, 1 or 2 ova. And simultaneously, it also produces the hormone, that is estrogen and progesterone. Progesterone, it is missing there, estrogen as well as progesterone. So ova also produce and progesterone also produce. We have learned testes will produce the sperm as well as the testosterone, which is a hormone, male sex hormone. Here it is ova as well as the 2 hormones, estrogen and progesterone. And this production of ova starts by the puberty. Once the girl is entering into a womanhood. So every month her ovary will start producing one ova. But right from the birth, when the baby is in mother's womb, that time itself the production of ova will start, but it will be arrested. And when she enters into the puberty, this immature ova will get a chance to absorb many hormones from the pituitary. And as a result, every month, one or two ova will mature as the functional gamete. And this point, at a particular point in her life history, that is in her menstrual cycle, the middle period, that is approximately 14th day of reproductive cycle, the ovary will discharge the ova. The process of release of ova from the ovary, it is called as ovulation. So every month the ovulation will take place on approximately on the 14th day of her cycle. And the released ova will be collected by a cup-like structure, which terminates in finger-like structures like this. So that finger-like structures are called as fimbriae. So this finger-like structures will vibrate, and as a result, the ova will be taken into the fallopian funnel, oviductal funnel. And from the funnel, it is passed through the tube. The tubular region is called as fallopian tube or oviductal tube, oviduct we'll say. Slowly the ova will be passed down through this, and if that particular time, if the male is inserted the penis and then if they discharge the semen into that one, means the sperms can slowly move, and it will move and it will reach into the, it will pass through the uterus and then reach into the fallopian tube. There it can unite and the fertilization can take place. And if there is no sperm, means ova will die within 2 or 3 days and it will pass into the next region, that is the uterus. So uterus is it is a pear-shaped structure. It is a pear-shaped structure and it is highly muscular bag-like structure. And inside that uterus only the baby development of the baby takes place if the fertilization is taking place. So fallopian tube opens out into uterus. And the uterus will followed by a region, that region is called as cervix. The mouth of the uterus is called as cervix. Cervix will open out through an opening, that opening external genitalia, that is called as vagina. So here we will explain the structure with the help of a diagram. So female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries. So here this is the ovary. On either side there is ovary. It is attached to the body wall as well as to the sides of the uterus with the help of a membrane, ligament we can say. And this ovary, every month they will start producing ova. And on 14th day, from any one ovary, the ova will be released. The process of release of ova is called as ovulation. And this released ova will be collected by finger-like processes, that is called as fimbriae. And it is absorbed into the fallopian funnel, which is a funnel-shaped widened region. And from there, it can pass through this narrow passage. That passage is called as tubular region, oviduct or fallopian tube. And from there, if at that time, if the copulation has taken place, means the sperms will be discharged into the vaginal tract and it can move and it can cross the uterus and there it can fuse with the egg. Soon after the formation of egg, the fertilization, the fusion, zygote formation. Then the zygote can pass and then there it can get implanted within the uterus. So that period is called as pregnancy. We will deal more in detail in the next module. There the development of the baby takes place. So the function of uterus is to support the fetal growth and to continue the pregnancy condition. So it is highly muscular and it is somewhat like a pear-shaped structure. And there the baby can develop. The mouth of the uterus, this region, that is called as the cervix. It leads into a tubular region and it opens out through the vagina. It is the external genital opening. So this is the structure and you have to learn this diagram. Then the next one. So I said if the sperm is present, if the sperm is inserted into the vaginal tract, then only the sperms can move. So during sexual intercourse, the sperms from the male enters into the vagina of the female. The sperms reaches the oviduct. When the sperm fuses with the egg, that time if the ovulation has taken place means definitely within the oviduct the ova will be there. And that will fuse together, and that process of fusion of sperm with the egg, it is called as fertilization. And the fertilized product will transform into a single cell that is called as zygote. The zygote then gets implanted slowly within the uterus. The zygote then starts and divide to form the baby, or we can say the embryo. And the development of the embryo takes place within the uterus till the childbirth. So that period of development of the baby inside the uterine cavity till the childbirth, that period is called as gestation or pregnancy. So this module I am stopping with this because we will continue the remaining topic with the next module. So thank you very much.